Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for clicking my video. How are you guys? I wish you all good. In my video this time, I will share you some topics about the differences between objective and subjective tests, the differences between norms and criterion reference test, the differences between aspect of correctness and appropriateness, and then differences between authentic and artificial tests. Okay, don't go anywhere, just stay in my video and let's get started. Okay, for the first is the differences between objective and subjective tests. Before I tell about the difference the both, I will talk about what is objective and subjective test. Objective test, if no judgment is required on the part of the scorer, then the scoring is objective. These are tests that require one and only one possible answer. The scoring of this type of the test is easy because there is one-to-one correspondence of examiner's answer with what is specified in the key answers. The objectivity of scoring means that when one reader checks the paper at different times and settings, similar results are gathered. And how about subjective test? Subjective test is if judgment is called for. The scoring is said to be subjective. There are different degrees of subjectivity in testing. The impressionistic scoring of compositions may be considered more subjective than the scoring of the short answer in response to questions on a reading passage. There are tests that require a tedious scoring task. Example, essay test. The difficulty of scoring makes it possible that one checker may rate one piece of work differently from that one of the other. This is a challenge in the use of subjective tests. The teacher should develop rubric scoring. Okay, then let's talk about the differences between objective and subjective tests. First, test format. In the test format, objective usually in the form of multiple choice, like yes or no questions, true, false, and matching. Otherwise, subjective is like form of essay. Okay, then the second difference is test score. Objective usually use one correct answer like one score or point, and subjective based on rubric or kind of standardized consists of some criteria to test to score because there is one correct answer. And the last is skill to be tested. For example, objective is listening and reading, then subjective is speaking and writing. Then next topics is the differences between norms reference test and criterion reference test. Norms reference test is score our students based on the reference to the course of others and average score of the class. Criterion reference test is the direct guidance. The differences of both are First, for norm reference tests, norm reference tests are used to determine the achievements of individuals in comparisons with the achievements of other individuals who take the same test. Then, in norm reference tests, the quality of achievements of a student is determined by the distance of his score from the mean or median. Then, norm reference tests are designed to produce variability among individuals. To achieve this, some easy items are included. The test variability among the scorers reflects good measurements, while homogeneity indicates poor measurements to some extent. Okay, the next is norm reference tests are used for proposed selections and groupings. Then, norm reference tests on discriminative items, such as items that are easy, too difficult, or ambiguous, are removed or improved. Hence, sampling of test item is allowed and utilized. Then, in norm reference placement, indices are used to describe the relative placement of score. Such indices are absolute ranks, quartile, means, medians, and the like. Then, in norm reference, learners may be allowed to tackle a higher level of learning tasks, although they have not mastered very well and preceding learning tasks. The criterion reference test. First, criterion reference tests are used to determine the achievements of individuals in comparisons with the criterion, usually an absolute standard. The second is, in criterion reference tests, the quality of achievements of a student is determined by the distance of his score from established. Then, the third, in criterion reference test, the variability is irrelevant. Next, in criterion reference tests are used to determine the level or skill or knowledge of individuals if they are capable or qualified to apply such skill or knowledge. And then, in criterion reference test, too easy or too difficult items, they are not removed rather than should be included if they truly are reflecting being measured. In criterion reference tests, an individual scores simply above or below standard or criterion. In criterion reference tests, a pupil is not supposed to tackle the higher learning tasks if he has not passed the standards set for preceding learning tasks. Okay, next, the differences between aspects of correctness and accuracy. Correctness is similar to grammatical error, or this test is based on grammar and linguistic grammar. So, what's wrong with this test is how to justify using grammar. For example, if the present tense uses I, you, they, we, or etc. And then appropriateness. Usually there's nothing wrong with the grammar depending on whether the word is appropriate or not in a context. For example, if we want to ask someone for something, actually you can directly say it with close the door or open the door, but in appropriateness, you have to say please open the door or please close the door. Okay, the last topic is the differences between authentic and artificial tests. Authentic is testing and integrated language skills in one place. For example, the TOEFL test or the English test. So, the 4 language skills are tested in one test. Other ways, artificial is also contains tests of 4 language skills, but one by one. For example, if the test is a reading test, then the context in the test only focus on the reading test.